Good day, everyone. We are the Group Run. For today's discussion, we are going to tackle about the lesson 1, definition, types, elements, functions, and values of indigenous crafts. However, before that, let me ask you one question. Do you have what it takes to become a craftsman? Well, in this lesson, you will learn the brief overview of the indigenous crafts, emphasizing its definition, types, elements, functions, and values. And before we start, allow me to give you a brief background on how important indigenous creative crafts is. Indigenous creative crafts hold significant importance in our lives as they represent a community's cultural and artistic heritage. Now, allow me to give the virtual floor to the next reporter. Ms. Judiel, please. Thank you.
Now let us have the definition of arts and crafts. So arts and crafts in the Philippines refers to the various forms of the arts that have developed and accumulated in the Philippines from the beginning of civilization in the country up to the present era. They reflect the range of artistic influences on the country's culture, including indigenous forms of the arts, and how these influences have honed in the country's art. So allow me to continue. Types of indigenous crafts. So first we have cloth weaving. Originating in the pre-colonial times, the art of weaving in the Cordillera tribal groups in North still exists despite of the threat of more practical mass production of cloth. The native use of backstrap loom to produce baskets and articles of clothing. Abaca fiber comes from the abaca plant that is endemic and grown in the country. It is woven chiefly to make sinamay fabric. Abaca is popular in making rope and specialty papers like vacuum bags, currency, and tea bags. There are also handcrafts like bags, furnitures, carpet, and clothing made of abaca. The next one is basket weaving. Baskets are mainly used by Cordilleras for their occupation. They use them as storage for their food when they need to go to mountain terraces to cultivate their land. So the next reporter would be Aviguel.
Thank you, Judiel. So, jewelry making also a types in indigenous craft. These are the two major product categories that the fine jewelry industry in the Philippines are engaged for production. So number 1, precious metal jewelry, which are made of gold and silver. It can be in the form of rings, earrings, bracelets, brooches, pendants, necklaces, tie pins, and cufflinks, with or without gemstones. Decorative items like spoons and forks and office items such as pen and pen holders are also included in this category. Number 2, pearls, precious stones, and semi-precious stones. These are unworked or worked pearls. Colored gemstones like emerald, rubies, and sapphires are also in this group. Next one is the pottery. Pots in the Philippines have different sizes, shapes, and designs. Their designs are usually geometric with stylized nature motifs. Pottery become more functional as time passed by. An example of this is palayok, which is used for cooking. Banga and tapayan are used for storing liquids. There is also the clay-made stove or kalan. The making of Bornay pottery in Ilocos Sur is still a lively tradition that continues up to the present. Next is wood carving. Philippine sculpture is the most familiar art form among Filipinos. The most popular wood carving in the Philippines are carvings of the anitos or nature gods, santos or saints, and statues of Christ and the Blessed Mother. So that's all for the types of indigenous craft. Proceed to the next.
Elements of Philippine indigenous crafts.
Number 1. Use of natural materials. Many indigenous crafts in the Philippines use natural materials such as bamboo, rattan, abaca, wood, and shells. These materials are often locally sourced and sustainable. Number 2. Intricate designs. Filipino artisans are known for creating intricate designs and patterns in their crafts. These designs are often inspired by nature and can include flowers, leaves, animals, and geometric shapes. Number 3. Handmade techniques. Indigenous crafts in the Philippines are often made using traditional handmade techniques that have been passed down through generations. These techniques can include weaving, carving, stonework, pottery, and beadwork. Number 4. Functional and decorative. Many indigenous crafts in the Philippines are both functional and decorative. For example, baskets can be used for storing food, but they can also be beautiful pieces of art with intricate designs. Number 5. Symbolism. Some indigenous crafts in the Philippines have symbolic meanings. For example, the Aviguel people are known for their carved wooden bulul figures which represent ancestral spirits and are used in rice farming rituals. Number 6. Regional variations. Each region in the Philippines has its own unique style and techniques for creating indigenous crafts. For example, the Tiboli people of Mindanao are known for their intricate beadwork and weaving, while the Ilocano people of the northern Philippines are known for their traditional pottery. Number 7. Colorful palettes. Many indigenous crafts in the Philippines feature bright and bold colors. These colors can be used to create intricate patterns or to highlight certain elements of a piece. Number 8. Repetition. Repetition is often used in indigenous crafts in the Philippines to create patterns or to emphasize certain design elements. This can be seen in woven textiles or beaded jewelry, for example. Lastly, texture. Texture is an important element in many indigenous crafts in the Philippines. These can be seen in the use of materials such as abaca or rattan, which have natural textures, or in the carving of wood, which can create a tactile surface.
Functions or values of indigenous crafts. Indigenous crafts are an important part of many cultures and serve multiple functions and values. Here are some of the most common ones. First is we have the cultural preservation. Indigenous crafts can help preserve traditional cultural practices and knowledge, including techniques, motifs, and designs that have been passed down through generations. Next is we have economic livelihood. For many indigenous communities, crafting is a way to earn a living. Indigenous crafts can be sold locally or internationally, providing economic opportunities for artisans and their families. Third is spiritual and ceremonial significance. Many indigenous crafts are created for spiritual or ceremonial purposes, such as the creation of sacred objects, clothing, or jewelry for religious ceremonies. Fourth is we have the environmental sustainability. Indigenous crafts often use natural materials that are locally sourced and sustainable, helping to preserve the environment and promote responsible consumption. To continue, let's have Miss Kizza Marie Resma.
In addition, we have the educational and historical significance. Indigenous crafts can serve as an important educational tools, helping to teach younger generations about their cultural heritage, history, and traditions. And the sixth one is the artistic expression. Indigenous crafts can be seen as forms of artistic expression, allowing artisans to create beautiful and unique pieces that reflect their cultural identity and creativity. Next is
We will now
The
proceed.
examples of functions and values of indigenous crafts. We have two types of examples and functions of values and of indigenous crafts. These are material culture and immaterial culture. In material culture, it is manually created by people that can be held by our bare hands. Examples: Banawi rice terraces, museum, Chris, which is known for a weapon of Muslims, and many more. The other one would be the immaterial culture. This obviously can be touched or whole like language, tradition, beliefs, religions, dances, songs, myths, and many more. Examples of these are a group of ethnic tribes, a poet, baybayin, itik itik, and tinikling.
And that concludes our group discussion. Thank you and have a great day.